Hey, welcome back to the show. On today's episode, we're going to be working on the 63 bug again, finishing up the oval window conversion. We're going to be doing not one of my favorite topics, but I'm well versed in it, but bodywork. I hate it because it requires a lot of sanding and tedious processes, repetitive processes, but I figured it'd be a good episode in case any of you guys might want to see the stages and steps that I'll be taking on finishing the body work on the oval window conversion. I have some products here that we're going to be using, some SEM high build primer and self-edge primer, some body filler and finishing filler. I'll have a lot of links of the products that I use down below. You've seen me do most of the welding and finish metal work on the oval window conversion. So today we're going to basically go over some of the body work and final stage so that we could shoot the final color on it. So it'll be in high build primer, ready to block, and then put the final color on it. Again, we're going for a patina build. So still, it'll go through all the stages that you would for a regular paint job. So nothing's really getting skipped. It's just basically our final paint job just won't be as high of a quality. But as far as body work and prep and everything like that, you still have to follow all the steps. So we'll be doing that in today's episode. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe down below. We'll get started on this episode, and thanks again for tuning in. Just a hand block sander and then the long block, the pneumatic one. Both of them with 80 grit. Just basically trying to take down as much material as I can. I pretty much got it to where it's pretty much out. I have no edge. It's nice and smooth. I started here in this corner, shaved off this edge where I taped it, of course, because there's a higher build edge. And then basically planed it smooth. Same here, shaved off this edge, planed it smooth. And here, there's still a bit of an edge here. So after I did all that, I went through and pencil marked where I need to add more filler. Of course, in these areas, in this area, of course here, this is where I worked the filler a little bit beyond its drying period, so it started to kind of stick to the tool that I was using and peel up. So I gotta add some more filler here. I'll probably just use finishing filler in these three areas. I'll probably use regular filler here, and then along this bottom edge here, I drew a wavy line down here just to fill up this edge. So I'm gonna probably go from here to here, straight across, and then again block it with the long block across this back window edge and get that perfectly flat. From the original roof line to here, this crest is perfectly flat. You can see I already started cutting into the original body work. And then here it's good. It's just basically needs some finishing filler. And then I'm down to the bare metal in some areas, so those are your high areas. They're not too bad where I would need to hammer them down. If they're too bad, sometimes you might need to hammer them down and rework them. And then right now, since I'm going to be mixing up some more filler, I'm going to grind this down with 40 grit and then add the filler where I welded in this slip. If you remember in the last video, I told you I replaced the bottom channel that was rotted with another piece. So I'll basically be adding filler across here to cover this weld. I mean, it's just with the metal work alone, it's pretty decent, but still you need to add filler on top of it. Alright, for the window I'm using gloves because I am going to smear some in the channels with my fingers since we did weld across there. So if you can see on the top, I'm not going around the edge. The bottom only around the edge because we replaced that channel. The top of the edge was perfect. I'm just basically trying to clean up where we did the spot welds. We're going to sand it down smooth, but I just want to make it look like it's a nice, clean, smooth, even surface, especially when we go over it with high build, this and that. This way we could cover as many of those plug welds as possible and make it look it's nice and clean as possible. So that's it for the regular filler. Right now I'm just going to mix up a batch of finish filler and then just hit these little areas that just kind of have pinholes. So we got here, and then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 areas over there, 2 over here. That should be it. Alright, that should be it for tonight. Let this dry. Tomorrow sand it again and then see if we need any more finishing filler. I doubt we'll need any regular filler anymore. That should be it. As you can see, at this point we've earlier today by sanding the top we've already met the original bodywork. At this point we coated this, so we should when we go over it with the long block, we should actually again fully meet this area, block it down, and then we should be good at that point. So let's see tomorrow after we sand it. Should be just maybe a couple spots with finishing filler and then high build or self etch high build and ready to shoot it with color. Alright, see you tomorrow. Alright, you guys ready to get dusty again today? So this is pretty much dry. Honestly, I'd like to let it dry a little bit longer, but for purpose of video, we're going to start working it. For some of these big blobs, best thing to do is go over it with like a cheese grater. So this will knock this down, those big blobs, the like knots and stuff that you guys might have, and not clog up your sandpaper. So we'll go over that first, knock those down. So when you're doing these, you want to leave them just a hair proud. This way you don't gouge this into the finished filler. But you're just knocking them down enough so that you're not wasting too much sandpaper. The overall shape pretty much down. I just want to go over it. I swapped out the paper on the block sander on the long block. I started off with 80, now I swapped out to 180. So I'm going to go over it one more time with this before we start adding primer. I shaped the bottom lip. I want to go over it one more time and knock off a little bit more material here with the 180, and then I'll shape the top lip. And then we can start going over it with primer. I might have some areas here that I might need some finishing filler, but we'll see if I knock it down a little bit more with the long block. Other than that, everything looks pretty good at this point. Alright, I'm going to go over it one more time with the long block and then the rest just by hand. We're pretty much done. It feels super soft and nice and smooth with the 180. We're good enough to start primering it. I have a little area right here I still need to feather in. There's still a proud lip. Everything else right here is nice and feathered. Everything here is beautiful. Just go over it with your hand, feel it. Your hand's going to tell you everything. There's some stuff in here I need to go over. And then it's still here. I'm probably not going to be able to get away with sanding it. I'm going to have to put some finish filler right there. So other than that, I think we're pretty good. And then, like I said, the rest I'm going to go over by hand with a small block, or like you see me, just with sandpaper and finger, just to get this profile. As you see, we're knocking it all the way down to either the original paint, metal. We're not leaving a lot of filler. It's just basically to cover up our welds and mend the two roofs together. I mean, pretty much. I mean, you can see right here, we only have a little bit of filler here, and that's probably exactly where our weld was. So we're knocking it down quite a bit. There's really little to no filler going to be on this car. So we're all done sanding finally. I think I got it exactly where I want it. I'm gonna prep it, degrease it. You just use Windex. I blew it off. I'm gonna take you off the tripod, show you up close basically how much of the filler we removed. So you can see here it's down to bare metal in many places. I mean, we really didn't use much filler at all once we're said and done. Shape, profile, it's perfect, beautiful. Again, you can see how how much we're down the bare metal and all those shiny spots. The other trick to good bodywork, and again, this is just a patina build, this isn't a show quality build, but I still like to pay attention to detail. I don't know if you notice, I kept sharpening my body edge. You want to pay attention to any of your, I mean, a bug's round, but like cars, the 60s cars, like your Chevys, Fords, this and that, they have a lot of sharp edges. So you always want to crisp up your edges. So I kept going down here and making sure that I removed all my material in here, keeping this, this is one of the defining body lines of the bug. So I want to keep this valley nice and sharp, not puddled, not a lot of layers of paint or anything. So I kept sharpening this up. So that's one thing that you want to keep looking at when you're doing your body work, your body lines. Keep going over them with your sandpaper, sharpen them up as much as possible. Again, another example, I'm not sure if the camera could pick it up, but right here you can see my pencil mark from last night when I was circling where I wanted to put more filler. You can see that I pretty much sanded back down to my pencil mark again. So we pretty much, whatever filler we put on here, or what I put on here, I pretty much took right back off. I only have a very mild skim coat, and I would argue that I got less filler on this clip than what's probably on the regular car. I mean, you can see the layers here. You got a skim coat of filler, then they use like a, I'm assuming this is a primer, and I'll show you that. I ended up seeing that this was here. I ended up going with a black high build primer to mimic this, and then we'll go with the red, rust red primer as a top coat. So this way, when I sand through, I'll have black underneath it. So I end up going with a black high build primer for this project to kind of repeat what I'm seeing here. So let me degrease this, and then we could start putting some self etch on it, and then high build. We'll go over it again with a clean microfiber once more, since it was really filthy. Let that dry. I'll show you what we're going to be coating it with. So I'm going to be using SEM self-etch just to go over all the bare metal parts. Then after that, also SEM product, their high build primer. So yeah, part number. I'll have everything down in the description below. Again, I'm using the black high build. I normally don't use black, but since I've seen this coating and it mimics some of this type of stuff, so you have the rust red underneath and then some black showing up. So if I'm going to give it light patina, because there's not a lot of black showing, but there are some scars on the car with black showing underneath. So this way, if we do scuff through, we have the black, and it mimics what's basically on the body of the car. I don't want to get a lot of overspray on everything else, so I'm going to mask back around this area. This way we could pass and give heavy coats. So I'm going to pause it right now, and then you'll come back when it's masked, and we'll just start spraying. Alright, I got everything masked up, so we'll start spraying. Fun part. We'll start with the self-etch. Just going over bare metal. You don't have to fully cover everything, just bare metal only. First coat, just kind of light, and then we'll go over it again with another coat. You don't want it to run or anything like that. Just kind of want it to start to get tacky, and then we'll go over it with another coat. Alright, that should be it with the self etch. I'm gonna let this dry for about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll start going over with the high build. Alright, round 2. I'm gonna go high build primer. I'm gonna use gray just to get rid of the multicolor, so it's one solid coat, and then all the other coats after that will be black. Alright, that should be good for the gray. And then I'll probably do 1 or 2 full cans of black. On the gray, I didn't even use a full can. Probably maybe have, probably use 2/3 of the can. So, like I said, on black, I'm going to use probably two cans. This way I could really cut through it and lock it down. The good thing is once you get it all one color, you start to see areas where you do need some finishing filler. So I have a couple, like a little area here, and then a couple slobber areas down around here. And that's about it. I know I left some scratches on the paint there, on the original paint from the clip. I may leave that again since it's a patina build. Sometimes if you leave certain scratches when you're sanding over them, they'll reveal the layers of paint in that same type of scratch formation, so it looks more natural. So this I may leave, but you definitely don't want bondo marks, because that's a dead giveaway. Alright, time for black. So again, we're using SEM, high build primer, black. I'm going to use full can, probably full can and a half. Get heavy coat on this because I am going to block a lot of this off. And then I want to pull this back because I want to go beyond the gray. So I'm going to pull this back a little bit, stretch it out. that's it on this can. I'm gonna let this dry about 10 minutes and then shoot another can. There's still some in there, but it's at the point where if it's not held upright, it's gonna start splattering. So let this dry a good 10-15 minutes and then hit it with one more can. All right, second can of black, and it'll be last one for today. Pretty much let this dry. I want to let it dry at least 1 week. So we'll probably do the, we'll definitely do the rag top clip prior to this being blocked. Let this dry for 1 week, block it, touch it up with any finishing filler that's needed, second coat of this, block it, and then the red over that. So toss this on and call it a day. Can's 100% done, and it actually emptied out good. The other can, for some reason, it still had like a third in it and starts splattering. We are done. So that's pretty much it for this video. I didn't plan on doing the bodywork video because bodywork can be very boring. It's tedious, it's just a bunch of sanding, repetitive motions and everything like that. But I was thinking maybe some people might want to see it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully there was some things that you got out of it. Feel free to ask me anything down below in the comments section. I always pay attention to all of my comments down below. I'm willing to answer any questions you guys might have in case you've seen any techniques I used, or any of the products I used. If you have any questions about any of that. Again, this is a small area that we did here. I don't do full cars, but I do small areas like this, and I've perfected my art where I never really have any issues with cracking. And like I said, it's kind of sad nowadays. You see a lot of professional body shops that, I mean, stuff cracks right out the pretty much within a week or two or shortly after. So I've perfected basically what I've done, and I've never really had any issues, knock on wood. And the thing is basically prep with sanding, getting a nice tooth adhesion, knowing what filler actually adheres to, and then also taking your time. Like I said, on this primer, since it's out the can and we're not mixing it and spraying it with the spray gun, there's no hardeners and stuff like that in here like there would be if we're spraying it with the spray gun. So the dry time is going to be take a lot more than what it would if we were spraying it with the spray gun. The spray gun, you could go at this and start sanding it really quick. Like, I mean, technically you can, but I've just noticed that it'll start gumming up sandpaper a lot quicker. It doesn't sand as nice. So I usually always wait like 1 week if I'm spraying out of a can to wet sand. It's just basically little tips and tricks like that you learn along the way to basically come out with a nice finished product. And you can come out with a nice finished product straight out of can and straight out of your garage. So you guys will see when we're done with this. Again, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe down below. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing the rag top next on this, and we're going to be doing a lot more stuff on this. Like I said, we'll be doing some suspension work to it, more than what it currently has, doing some different wheel treatments. I have some 17-inch options, some 17-inch smoothies, and some 17-inch Porsche Funch, or Fouche, depending on how you want to say it. So we'll be playing with different wheel options, seeing how they look, letting you guys be able to see different wheel and stance options on these bugs too yourself. So in case you ever have something in mind and you kind of want to see what it looks like, we'll be doing it right here on this car. So stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't done so already. A lot of great content on this, and then we will be doing more of the C10 builds as well. So like I said, channel's got a lot of great stuff for you guys. Thanks again for viewing, and let this dry, and I'm done for today. Thank you.